I can see why I get the looks I do when I'm out with my buggy. It's embarrassing. It looks like something a homeless person would have. But let's take a look here. Because this is my lunch. This one here. I got the bag on sale. This is the candy. You already know what candy looks like. This is something I bought today. I'm going to bring that up. This is a lot of biblical goodness in here. And I wanted to talk a little about this. So I have two boxes of this. So we're going to go in the other room now. Actually, no, we're going to get a Dr. Pepper on my thing. But, yeah, so and I need to put the dress in the laundry room. So I have that everywhere I go when I leave the house these days. And it's big, and it's awkward, it's embarrassing. I get looks, I get the treatment by security. Sometimes it's at stores I go to, and I understand that. And I have no problem leaving it somewhere, because really, if somebody goes and has a look through it, it's all Bibles. They don't want that. So, let me check on Spotty. So I had that, when I got on the bus tonight. It was pretty crowded, so I sat down next to a guy. He was about 30. He had a little boy with him. And the little boy was, bright, curious, sweet little kid. And he was very obedient too, which is unusual. I generally see a lot of very badly behaved kids out there. So there's Spotty. I don't know if you can see him, but no, you can't. I don't think you can even see me. But there's lightning right now in the sky. So yeah. But I made it home. Thank you, Jesus. I did not get stuck in the pouring rain. So I was next to these guys, and I just, there were these young men across the way, and they were, early 20s. They were the same race as the father and his son. And it just, every word out of their mouths was just filthy profanity and just demon speech. It just awful, drugs and this and that, and just awful. And the little boy was watching him, and I thought, Lord, please help me reach this child. And God reminded me I had a children's storybook Bible in my cart. And I thought, do I? And I went digging, and I saw that I had a children's Bible in the cart. I had a couple of them, actually. Here's one. Children's Bible. It has a lot of helps in it, which I think is good for a young learner. And the reason I think Bibles for children are important is if you don't get God, the worship, the love of God into a child, then they're going to learn the love of the world. And that's not good. So they, and the father looked like the kind of guy who would actually read it to his kid. And so I, the other day I gave a Bible to a lady, a very nice NLT Bible. And she took it and she put it in the stroller. And about 5 minutes later, she slapped her little boy across the face. Just because he was being a child. So, but this guy seemed like a really good dad. So I got this out. Let me see. I'm going to do it this way too. So I had this. And I said, sir, I'd like to give you this if you don't mind. And I gave it to him, and he was looking through it, and he was flipping through it, and the little boy just went, over the top, excited. So and then I says, okay, I'll take that. And another boy jumps up from around the next seat over, and I didn't know they were related. And it was the older son. And he said, let me see, Dad, let me see. And he said, I can read it. I can read, Dad. And I thought, I know what to give you. So I dug this out. The children's Bible that has a lot of helps. And I said, sir, I hate to bother you again. And I held this up. I said, it's for the older boy. And I said, could you make sure he gets it? And he said, okay. And he put it in his bag, and the older boy's bouncing up and down now. And I thought, how wonderful, what a wonderful privilege it is to introduce these children to the Bible. And if I have to go around looking like a bag lady, I'm okay with that, because the goal is introducing people to Jesus. All I have to do is just make the introduction. That's all I have to do, and pray for them. And I do diligently. I consider that my sacred responsibility. I take that very, very seriously. And so all I have to do is that. And Father just kept kind of looking at me, and I was just, playing on my phone or whatever, and I just ignored him basically. And he still got up and moved, but that was okay. He had the Bibles. And, eventually they got off at their stop, and I'm sure I'll never see him again until, Judgment Day or whatever. But, I got to do that, and that's so, so important to me. And I have neurological differences. I was born that way. My birth mother drank quite a bit every day she was pregnant, and it just messed up all the wiring. And they knew from when I was 6 months old that something was off, and I just wasn't hitting my milestones, and and they I've always been different, and it was hard at first, but I accept it now because God needed somebody different, somebody who would go out and do all the cuckoo things I do to share Jesus. And part of that is like planning and organizing things, and Ron took care of a lot of that when he was alive, but as he got sick, I had to kind of pick that up. And one problem I have is that I want to basically spend every penny I can on outreach. And I covered all my bills. I got all the bills paid, but I basically didn't save enough money for myself this paycheck. And it was very interesting that yesterday somebody gave me some money, which I spent mostly on outreach. And today I was walking to the bus stop, and I just found $5 laying on the ground. That's God, So I'm not asking for money, but I have my needs met. I have gas, electric, water. I have a roof over my head. I have money on my bus card. I'm good. So, but I just thought that was very interesting, and I'm very, very glad God chose to use me that night. And one thing I'm going to do right now, because this is my motto with brain damage, do it now. So I'm going to get these. I'm going to do a bonus feature of Cleo. Look at that fat baby. I'm sure she was doing that all day long. I'm going to put these in my buggy right now to replace what I took out. So that's it. Let's do the fat baby again.